Alright guys, welcome back to the CSP. We are in, well, we've just caught the ferry from Sriracha over to Koh Si Chang to have a look around there for the day. Problem being, I've got off on the wrong bloody island. So I've actually got off on Koh Kamyai. So Koh Si Chang is behind me, as you can see. And Koh Kamyai doesn't have an awful lot on it. So I'm going to have to wait for the next boat to come along, see if I can jump on that and just show them my ticket. If not, I'll just have to pay again. But when I get actually on the right island, I'll pop back and tell you what we're going to have a look at today. Right, so we actually are now on Koh Si Chang after a slightly uncomfortable conversation with a Thai boat driver. But anyway, it got me. It was only another 5 minutes over the bay, so I'm going to get breakfast. I'm going to buy a hat so my head doesn't get toast. And then I'm going to slowly reveal what we are actually going to look at. Do not touch that bloody dial. Okay, so now I've got the logistics out of the way. We're going to head over to Chudajudge, if I pronounce that right, Palace, which is, it was basically a retreat, like a weekend chill retreat built by King Chulalongkorn. Again, that's there, I might not pronounce that right. But yeah, it was built in the late 1800s as a bit of a weekend resort for the then king. And then the Franco-Siamese conflict kicked off, and it basically turned into went from a weekend retreat to like a bit of an awkward place to hang out. So the project was abandoned halfway through. So all the main wooden parts of it were sort of dismantled like, and they've been put up in somewhere in Dusit in Bangkok somewhere. But the basic foundations of the palace still lay there, and part of it's a bit, well, I mean, it's all deserted, obviously, but there's some remains that are kind of half built to waist height and very eerie and very kind of atmospheric. So we're going to see if I can get a motorbike up to that when I've had this coffee. Go and have a look around there, and there's a museum there as well, so we'll try and take that in at the same time. I'll be honest, I'm starting to get a bit annoyed this morning. The town bit's absolutely rammed and you can't walk anywhere without a motorbike up your arse. I was wandering around looking for a coffee shop for quite a while, and finally found one, sat down, gagging for a coffee, orders an Americano, first sip of it, puts it on the table and a frigging fly lands in it. So I wasn't finishing that off. And now I'm trying to find a taxi, well, probably a motorbike taxi that will take me to Prachidaju. And whenever I say it to anyone, they just look at me like I've just stepped off a flying saucer. So it's not their fault, obviously I'm not pronouncing it right. So to chill myself out, I've decided to walk. I bought plenty of water, it might take 10-20 minutes, but I'm going to walk there and just try to get my equilibrium back by the time I arrive. So if I could read this, I'd know if we were going in the right... Oh no, sorry, it is English there. Chahudaju Palace Museum, Chulalongkorn University. So yeah, we must head down here, so we're going the right way. So we are now on what is called Asdang Bridge or Pier, and this is part of the complex that we were talking about before, Chahudaju. I can't say it, and I don't think anyone knows what I'm talking about. But this was built by the king in 1891, and it was to commemorate his son recovering from an illness. So he built that in celebration of that. And you would imagine it was obviously before all this maritime stuff was over here, the stuff you can see over towards Sriracha there, because it's all this just looks so beautiful and picturesque. Then it's just so ugly over there, isn't it? As I say, all this lot is probably isn't going to have appeared in the last probably 50, 100 years or so. But yeah, it would have looked a lot nicer before, I'm sure. So yeah, we're starting to see here evidence of building work that's either just been abandoned or just dismantled down to foundation level. Get an idea of the scale of what the project was and probably how much work was involved in the late 1800s. But it's quite sad in a way, isn't it? It kind of makes you think what this could have looked like if it had gone on to become the vision that it was, held by the time monarchy. It also makes you wonder how much money they pissed on it as well. Not that that would matter to the time monarchy, because they are astronomically wealthy. I'm not sure if they're the wealthiest in the world, but I know they're above the UK royal family, which is a statement on its own. But yeah, billionaires aren't even the word for them, I don't think, and something like this would probably have been pocket change. Although in 1891, 1892 it probably would be in the billions in this day and age. But yeah, it's hard to imagine what it would have looked like. So this is a convalescent home, which His Majesty, well, read that rather than listen to me waffle. That's why I built it. But this is obviously some kind of, I don't know, home for the elderly or recovering from illness. Shoes off, of course. Thai accommodation is non-negotiable. some bits I'm walking in, it almost feels vulgar to talk at all. You just walk in, flash your phone around like, and it speaks for itself really. Running commentaries have never been my style. If you're used to my videos, if there's something interesting, I kind of let it speak for itself. I don't waffle on for no reason, which is I'm starting to do now. So see what's inside here. So I'm guessing the ruins and the museum are kind of the same thing. You walk around and there's like descriptions inside the buildings of what's going on there. And it is part of the university campus as well, which is interesting. So no charge to get in at all, which I was surprised about. Maybe there's somewhere you can make donations on the way out, which I might do if I've got a bit of loose change, but yeah, everything's been modelled beautifully. Obviously a huge amount of thought went into this before the extenuating circumstances took place and they had to abandon it, but that's why you're seeing what you're seeing today. Okay, so I think we're approaching the viewpoint now, which should be on one of these signs. Stone Bell, Koh Si Mansion, Abiron Mansion, Bathing Court. I thought there was a viewpoint up here. Let's keep going up. So yeah, I think we are actually now approaching the viewpoint, which does kind of look like a bell, doesn't it, from the top? But apparently the stone bell was back the other way that I think we just looked at, so hopefully this might have a bit of seating area just for me to get me second wind, because it's very warm, it's very uphill, and I'm starting to feel a bit knackered. Prachadai Asdankanimtir Temple. Don't think I pronounced that right for a minute, but yeah, there she is. Spectacular. And oddly enough, doesn't really look, what will it be, 130 years old? It's probably been painted since, but yeah, you'd think with sea air and salt and what have you, it'd probably get stained quite regularly, so they'd probably have to give it a lick of paint every 3-4 years, something like that. But still, it's lasted very well. Thai architecture just seemed to be built to last, I've noticed. So obviously buildings get worse for wear, and a lot of things are made from wood in Thailand, but they seem to do a good job of keeping them restored, so maybe they know something we don't. Sawadee Cap. So this looks to be like the main shrine. I've seen these structures before and they always kind of have an outer walkway and then like an inner sanctum. There's one Buddhist, not sure if you call it a tradition or something, but when they make merit, as they say, what they do is they walk around, I think it's anti-clockwise, which is what I'm doing now, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it is. They walk around 3 times anti-clockwise around the shrine with a flower in their hand, and it's part of a make merit ceremony, but they tend to do it in the evening. And I remember doing it in Bangkok a few years ago. It was so hot in the day that the floor was so hot you couldn't stand on it because the sun was still hitting it. So they do it in the evening when it's cooled down a bit, just so you can take your time like and relax. But I think that's what this is built for. There, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Anchovy, Wapan, Apiwan. So I assumed this to be like a fish pond when I first walked down to it, and you can actually see a few small fish circling around down there. But then looking at the sign, which is just over there, it says bathing courtyard, and it's assumed that the royal family must have used it for bathing, or intended to use it for bathing, even though it never actually got finished. And just looking over there, you can see some steps going into it, so that would explain why. But yeah, wouldn't look bad with a few koi in it, would it? Right, so from looking at the map, I think, from walking around, I think we've seen most of it, if not all of it. And yeah, it's a very interesting little walk around. You have to use your imagination a bit to see what could have been here rather than what actually is here. But when you look at the models and the maps, like inside the indoor museum parts, you get a gist of how grand the project actually was. Maybe a good follow-up video would be to visit Dusit in Bangkok and see where they relocated the wooden parts there. So maybe think about that in the next few months. But as I say, it's just gone 12 o'clock, it's incredibly hot. I can feel my brain starting to swell. So I think I'm going to head back into town near where we catch the ferry is. See about sorting a bit of lunch out, and maybe a cheeky Leo as well.